time for my mailbag section, my favorite things we do here on the Cowboys Report. Got quite a few good ones this week, so let's dive into it. First up from John Dahl, Roswell Lockwood. What's up with Kyle Quiero? He's still on the roster. Yes, he is. Played safety at Northwestern, has moved to linebacker for Dallas. Kind of a tweener. Too slow to play safety, not big enough to play linebacker. Might be a practice squad guy in year one. Juan wants to know what's up with Randy Gregory. When can he return, if he can at all? So Juan, Gregory has applied for reinstatement. We are now stuck waiting, as we kind of have been for quite some time with Randy Gregory. The NFL now has 60 days from about a week and a half-ish, somewhere in that range ago, to see if they're going to allow Gregory to return. Now, has played in 2 games since 2015, but has reportedly passed drug tests for months. That's a big deal for the Cowboys and the NFL. And Gregory, if I had to guess, I kind of do think that Randy gets reinstated, likely right around the time that training camp starts. All right, 2 similar questions here. One, who will start as the number 1, Hurns or Gallup? And who I think will have the better season, Gallup or Hurns? We'll make this into one big question, a Gallup versus Hurns discussion. We'll start with Allen Hurns. And Hurns, as of right now, is the Cowboys' number 1 wide receiver. He's been working with the ones alongside, for the most part, Deontay Thompson and Cole Beasley. Gallup has not earned that quite yet. So I like Hurns quite a bit overall, and I think that he's a good fit there. As for Gallup, a lot of it becomes on if he can pass Terrence Williams, and I think he will do that. Now, it might not come right away, but I think that'll be the case for the Cowboys. T. Will, because of his arrest, has hurt himself on the roster bubble. So I think Hurns is your number 1 guy, but if by the end of the year, I think you could see Gallup outplaying Hurns, even if the end stats are still in favor of Hurns once we end the season. So Hurns is number 1 for now, but we're not going to quite rule out Michael Gallup in the long-term discussion. Demetrius wants to know then, next up here, who is a bigger bust for the Cowboys? Is it Charles Tapper or is it Randy Gregory? And it's a good question because on one hand you have Charles Tapper, who was only a 4th-round pick, so that I think lessens the amount of possibility for a bust you have, because if you're a 4th-round pick, you don't quite have the same high expectations. But Tapper has not done very much in his NFL career. Just 2 games because of injuries, out with a concussion right now. I don't know if he's going to make the roster. Gregory, meanwhile, had much higher expectations and has played in 2 games since 2015 as well. In terms of looking forward, I think that Gregory has the better outlook because he has the chance to return this year. And frankly, I'd be kind of surprised if he wasn't reinstated by the NFL. Of course, on the flip side for the Cowboys, Gregory had the higher expectations. So I think based on right this second, Gregory is the bigger bust, but in 2 years, I would not be surprised if it's Tapper. Next up from Jordan Thomas, he asked, with Jason Witten retiring, could the Cowboys pull Martellus Bennett out of retirement? Absolutely not. I don't think you'll want Bennett on your team. The Bennett brothers in general are kind of just a handful to deal with, and Bennett did not have great things to say about the Cowboys or when he left, and I don't think the Cowboys or Bennett would want to have a reunion there, so don't expect any Bennett reunion for the Cowboys. Sandman wants to know, which Cowboys alignment gets the most pancake blocks this year? I'll go with Zack Martin, assuming he plays. I think he has the chance to do more on the ground game, and I trust him to stay healthier more than Tyron Smith. And am I amazed at how athletic linemen have manifested these days? Absolutely. Tyron and Connor Williams on the left side, that's almost unseen athleticism going back just even 10 years. So yes, I am very impressed by that. Back to Demetrius here. Who is the better artist, Cole Beasley or Rico Gathers? Look, for me, it's Cole. It's not even all that close. I love what Cole does in the rap game. I respect what Rico does as well. The flip side is, I can listen to Cole's music in public. Rico's is just a little bit more vulgar if you've listened to it. All right, on to some Twitter questions now. There were some great ones this week again, folks. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. Andrew wants to know, how does Taco look so far in OTAs? Taco's looked fine. He hasn't really blown away anyone, but he's not really supposed to during OTAs. These are organized team activities. The linemen, for the most part, are not really going to thrive in the same way a receiver might because of just the way that the practices are run. He has, however, had some reps with the first team during OTAs, mostly when DeMarcus Lawrence was getting a breather, but it's a good sign for Taco, who I think will again be one of the Cowboys' top defensive ends in terms of backups on their rotation. Edward wants to know if the Cowboys are really going into 2017 with receivers and tight ends that scare no one, and he's frustrated. And I get what you're saying, Edward. Losing Dez and Witten in terms of on-paper production, the Cowboys have not replaced them. Allen Hurns, Deanna Thompson, Michael Gallup, and Dalton Schultz are not the type of overall talent that you replace a guy like Dez and Witten with. The Cowboys want to give these young guys a chance. Noah Brown, Ced Wilson, even a guy like Lance Lenore as well could get a chance to make the roster. I think in the end what concerns me the most is tight end, kind of like you mentioned there, Edward. Jarwin, Swaim, Schultz, and Rico are not a confidence-inspiring group at tight end. I think there's reason to have some doubts there. But I do know from you guys who will lead the Cowboys in receiving yards. Is it Hurns, Gallup, Beasley, or somebody else? Let me know who in the comment section. I'm going to go for now. I'll place my vote for Allen Hurns. Paul wants to know how has Noah Brown looked this offseason. Brown has put in a lot of work this year, training with Dak, training before OTAs. I want to believe he will make the roster. Williams' arrest, by the way, is going to really help Noah Brown make this year's roster. It's going to be heavily contested, but he's a good blocker. He is a good fit for this Cowboys offense because he can block. I like what he brings. We'll see if he actually does make the roster. The preseason will be the most important part for a lot of these wide receivers for the Cowboys. Next up, will the Cowboys look to add any of the top free agents left? And probably not. So don't expect any big additions there. Some top guys left: Trey Boston, Kenny Vaccaro, Bowman, Hankins, Reed. Maybe it's a safety. I would still love Kenny Vaccaro, but the safety market in general has been very, very quiet. As for Michael Kendricks, he actually just signed with the Cleveland Browns, for those of you wondering what's going on there. So, folks, let me know, what player or players do you want the Cowboys to add before the season? Now, you can say a free agent or trade. I know some of you guys want Earl Thomas out there, so if you want Earl Thomas, let me know in the comments section. A couple more left here from William Tyler Brown. What will the Cowboys do with the extra cap space, in your opinion? I don't know if they're going to do much of anything. There aren't a lot of free agents that they want. They want to extend Zack Martin, and they're also looking down the road to next year when DeMarcus Lawrence, when David Irving, and beyond that, when Dak Prescott are all going to be free agents, and Zeke Elliott as well, Byron Jones too. Cowboys going to have a ton of cap space next year. If they don't spend the around $12 million they got, we'll say it ends up being around $7 maybe, they can roll that over into next year's cap space. So don't expect Dallas to spend money just because they have it. It might make more sense for them to save it for the time being. Dominique wants to know, are the Cowboys any closer with a deal with Zack Martin? As of right now, no, and it's still frustrating to me. He is not at OTAs because he wants, rightfully so, a new contract. And he wants to be the highest paid guard in the NFL. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm giving Zack Martin that new contract. You can give him some of the money freed up because Orlando Scandrick's post-June 1st money has now hit on the roster. So get Zack Martin paid. This is not a long discussion in reality. He wants to be the number one guard. Cowboys think he's the best guard in the NFL. Just pay him like it. One more from Stu then. The latest on David Irving, and what's their backup plan other than just having depth? Well, Irving, I think, is getting his body and his mind right. Look, he's gone through a lot this offseason. We should be patient with him, including myself, so we'll see what happens there with Irving. I'm pretty sure he'll be back. Maybe it's not for OTAs, maybe it's for mandatory minicamp, but he'll be back. If he's not, and this is where the backup plan comes into play, oh boy, there isn't one, frankly. You have Malik Collins, who's hurt. Brian Price, I guess Jihad Ward becomes your backup plan, who was probably going to get cut by the Raiders. Ash and Price are nose guards. Maybe it's someone like Dayton Jones, who I like quite a bit, can be a DE or DT. I listen mostly at defensive, but for this purpose here, we'll put him at DT for now. But if Irving can't go, I don't know what the Cowboys' backup plan. Maybe it's more Jones and Ward than they would otherwise plan on. All right, folks, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. And if you missed anything, don't worry. We'll play it again here in just a second. Until then, we'll see you next time.